ready, Monarchs fans? It's time for the Old Dominion Football Show with Bruce Rader and Coach Bobby Wilder.
Following two tough games against ACC opponents, Old Dominion's first conference game of the season was a disappointment. Injuries continue to plague the Monarchs, as was evident during their loss to Florida Atlantic. So what are the coaches doing to get their guys back on track? And could there be any surprises when ODU takes on Marshall Saturday? Let's find out. The Old Dominion Football Show starts now. I'm Bruce Rader along with Coach Bobby Wilder. Let's get to that Florida Atlantic game. Get it out of the way. I was watching you on the sideline Saturday. You couldn't hide your disappointment, almost surprised, really, at the way that your team played, especially on defense against the Owls. What happened?
Yeah, disappointing's a good way to describe it, Bruce. And, you know, on behalf of myself, everybody in our organization, want to personally apologize to the fans. That was not a performance that that you feel good about walking away from, particularly when you're playing at home. And you know, we've had such a good fan base, Bruce, good following. We got a sellout crowd. We score, Bruce, come out in the second half, score, get it to 31-21. Our defense gets a stop. The crowd's right back into it. And then the problem that plagued us in that game, turnovers, 4 turnovers. We were first in the league last year, Bruce, in turnover margin. We're 10th right now. And then poor tackling. We had 39 missed tackles. We've never had that many missed tackles. Now, you also get to give a lot of credit to Florida Atlantic. They're playing good football. They beat Middle Tennessee last week by 3 touchdowns. They've got 2 of the top 7 running backs in the league in terms of performance, Singletary and Howell. So I don't want to take anything away from them, but that's a poor performance by us, and that's something we need to get better.
I've known you for a long time, and I know that you don't like to hide behind excuses, but let's face it, your team has suffered so many key injuries to key players this season. It's just been devastating. Is there any light at the end of the tunnel as you head to Marshall on Saturday?
There always is, Bruce. There's always light. And when you have resilient players like we have, they work to come back. And I'm as surprised probably as you or anybody when Ray Lowry 6 weeks ago tore his hamstring. I thought, that's it, he's done for the year. Well, Ray has just worked his tail off the last 6 weeks. He's practiced well this week. As of right now, Thursday, as we do this show, he's playing. This weekend, he's going to be back. Bumi Rotimi, who's our all-time leading sack leader, will be back this weekend. Daniel Apu, who's missed the last 3 weeks, one of our top sack leaders this week. And then Lawrence Garner, a redshirt freshman linebacker who's playing really good football, hurt his shoulder 3 weeks ago. So 3 guys that play a lot for us on defense are coming back, and Ray Lowry, our all-time leading rusher, is back.
Well, that's some good news.
That's some very good news.
That's some very good news. You know what, Coach? I'm intrigued with your leadership council. You mentioned that you met with them Sunday after the Florida Atlantic loss. Now, most coaches really don't go to their players, especially when times are bad. What is the leadership council, and what do they do for you?
Yeah, I started this 4 years ago, Bruce. I was meeting with one of the other head coaches in the league and just talking about different things, ways to help your program. And he talked to me about this. It's actually called the Unity Council. It's about leadership, but it's more about unity within the team. And we have 15 players that are on this Unity Council. It's primarily older players, veteran players, but at least one player from every position group. So they represent every group. So you got your O-line, your D-line, linebackers, and so on. At least one player is on that group. And those players speak for their position. They ultimately speak for the team. So that way I can get some information back. It's hard when you're a head coach, you got a team meeting, and you say, hey, what do you guys think about this? Well, not a lot of people want to speak. When I do it in more of an intimate, private setting, they speak up. And what was really encouraging from the players is they were disappointed. They felt badly about what happened, and they said, Coach, we need to make practices harder. They need to be tougher. We got to be more physical. We got to hold guys more accountable. And when you get that from your players as opposed to saying, well, it's the coach's fault or it's this guy's fault. They're not in there pointing fingers. They're saying we have to perform better. And that was really encouraging to hear from that group.
So how did practice go this week?
Really good. One of the things they asked for, Bruce, was they wanted tackle football. They wanted it to be game-like. And when you're got some players hurt and you got some guys coming back from injury, that's a fine line as a head coach because you never want to lose a player in practice. You don't want to see a player get hurt, but we did live goal line tackle. They wanted to do that. We had a lot of situations in drill work that was tackle to the ground, and they practiced really hard this week. And what I was most proud of, Bruce, is they taking that accountability. You always, as a head coach, you always say it's your fault when it's not going well, but here's the kids saying, no, that's unacceptable. We have to play and practice better.
All right, let's talk about this week's opponent, Marshall. After a couple of down years, they are playing great defense. They're scoring, and while they may have one of the best offensive lines in Conference USA, your defensive line is one of the best in the country when it comes to sacking the quarterback.
Right, you've got the team that's giving up the least amount of sacks in Marshall's against the team that's got the most sacks in Old Dominion. That's going to be a really good matchup, their O-line versus our D-line. They're 4-1, Bruce. At the start of the year, their only loss is NC State, who's 5-1 at this point. They're playing really good on offense. Chase Litton is a veteran quarterback, Bruce. 10 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, completing 62% of his passes. And then defensively, they're only allowing 17 points a game, so they're the #1 ranked defense right now in Conference USA, and much different from last year, Bruce. They were 3-9 last year. Well, they were turning the ball over, and they weren't taking the ball away. Well, this year, they're one of the top teams in the league. Makes all the difference in the world.
Homecoming in Huntington. Marshall will celebrate the life of former coach Sonny Randall, who I knew for years. He coached at East Carolina. He coached at UVA. He played at UVA. He did a radio show here
Sonny Randall
in the area. Huntington is a tough place to play, especially at homecoming.
It is, Bruce, and I'm glad you mentioned Sonny Randall. I only get to speak to him a couple times. What a great personality, successful player, coach into broadcasting. But it's a really fun place to play, Bruce. They'll have a huge crowd there. The weather should be good. It's a really outstanding stadium. We're going to have to play well to beat them, but we're certainly capable of playing well at Marshall on their homecoming.
All right, looking forward to that. And still to come, the return of offensive lineman Chad Hendricks could not have come at a better time. But first, up for Big Chad, he's going to have to take on Nathan Epstein in the 1-minute drill. And Coach Wilder answers your questions in the Coach's Corner. That's next on the Old Dominion Football Show.
I'm Nathan Epstein, back with the Old Dominion Football Show and the 1-minute drill. Today we got a big offensive lineman. Chad Hendricks joins us. Chad, we know offensive linemen, they got to eat. They got to eat. What's your go-to meal?
Steak. I love steak. And 5 days a week, I'm having some sort of beef. So,
what's the best and the worst thing about being an offensive lineman?
You're not in the highlights. You know, you're not really getting a whole lot of credit. But I think the best thing about being offensive lineman is probably the respect.
Offensive linemen don't score the touchdowns, but if you could, what would be your go-to touchdown dance?
I don't know, probably the...
Gotta show us.
I don't know. Probably the ball spike or something.
What is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal? Oh, man. A hawk.
Why is that?
I want to fly. I want to be a predator, that's for sure.
Who's the goofiest teammate?
Other than me, Andrew Lawson. I don't know if you've seen him, but oh man, he is a character.
What makes you the goofiest?
I'm all over the place. I'm not the brightest, so I just kind of make up for it with laughter.
What's your favorite thing about being a Monarch?
Game day. There's nothing like it. You know, the Monarch walk and the coming over with a police escort through Norfolk, that's really special.
He's Chad Hendricks, big offensive lineman. He passes the 1-minute drill. Chad, why don't you say goodbye to the Monarch Nation?
Goodbye, Monarch Nation.
Yeah, he's flying around. You know, every team on every level needs a good right tackle. If Chad's healthy, he's a big factor for you guys.
Yeah, he sure is, Bruce. It was great to have him back this past week. He played really well. You know, we scored 28 points at 411 yards. He pass protected well, run block. Another one of our preferred walk-ons who became a scholarship player, started the last 2 years.
Good eye, good coaching. All right, still to come, the Coach's Corner on the Old Dominion Football Show. Time now for the Coach's Corner. Remember, send your questions to me at bruce.rader@wavy.com. Coach, first question comes from Luke in Suffolk. What was the deal with the opening kickoff in the FAU game? It looked like a safety, but the refs ruled it a touchback.
Yeah, it was really interesting, Bruce. This happened a few years ago, and they had to change the rule. The ball was kicked, and it bounced, and it went over the head of the returner, okay, as he touched it. Then he goes back to pick it up in the end zone. He's trying to come out with it. He slips and falls. Now, what they did with the rule, Bruce, to say if the momentum of the football takes you into the end zone, then it's a touchback. So even though the player didn't know the rule, he was trying to come out. Everybody thought it was a safety initially. I did at first, and they marked it on the 2-yard line. They actually got it wrong. They had to go to the video, but that was called properly, and that rule is more to protect the player.
All right. Well, no rest for the weary, and no game is a gimme in Conference USA. ODU at Marshall, 2:30 Saturday afternoon. You can see it on ESPN3. 30 seconds, Coach. Any last words?
Yeah, number one thing, Bruce, about this game will be the turnover margin. We have to get better at that. We can't turn the ball over 4 times in the game. Number 2, ability to run the ball. Cox went for 200 last week. Lowry's back. And then number 3, the matchup we talked about, our defensive line versus their O-line. They like to throw the ball. We need to get to the quarterback.
Good luck. See you next week on the Old Dominion Football Show.